going on, everyone? It's a new month. It's time to start a new franchise. Let's talk about Insidious. I have only seen this a couple of times before this viewing. I've seen the second one once, and I haven't seen the third and fourth one, so I am looking forward to watching those. Now, these are, of course, written by Leigh Whannell. At least the first two. I think he directs the third one. This is directed by James Wan, and he directs the second one. And when you put these two guys together, you know you're going to get a great film. They were just cranking them out left and right throughout the 2000s. They had Saw. They wrote like Saw 2 and 3. They didn't direct those. But they were just doing Dead Silence, and then Insidious 2, 3, 4, and then the Conjuring universe. And even while they were making this one, James Wan had the idea for the Conjuring universe in his mind already. And the original title for this movie was The Further, because they go into the further. That's what they called it. And the composer in this movie, he plays the demon. I didn't know that. The Darth Maul looking demon. The fire face. And I think this is a PG-13 movie done effectively. Because I'm not a huge fan of PG-13 movies, but when I'm watching Insidious, there's nothing where I'm like, see, this could have been rated R, or this could have been better, this scene, if it was R. This movie's not calling for R at all. It works tremendously as a PG-13 movie, and there was even moments that were genuinely creepy and suspenseful. Just in because I can't say a movie's ever really scary. Like it's gonna scare you. I don't know. Everyone's different. This movie doesn't scare me, but there's moments where I put myself in someone else's shoes, like, my sister, for example. I think if my sister was watching this, because she's a chicken shit, sorry if you're watching, but she's a chicken shit, I'm like, this movie would scare the hell out of her. So I think this is a scary movie for most people. Not me. Nothing scary, really. Like, you can make me feel uncomfortable, a little uneasy, like, or gross me out, like The Dentist. That movie actually grossed me out, and that's even hard to do. But nothing really scares me. But watching this from a different mindset, trying to think if I was someone else, the target audience for this movie, this is actually a scary ass PG-13 movie. And let's go into it in this week's Horror Franchise Wednesday. Let's talk about the positives. First up, like I said, this is a good PG-13 horror movie. It's so good without any actual violence or gore that it doesn't need to be rated R. And James Wan, after making Saw, wanted to make a PG-13 movie without violence and gore to prove to people, like, hey, I can make a decent horror movie without the violence and gore. And damn, did he. I loved Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne in this movie. The family chemistry, it just feels real. The way it's written, the way it's acted out. It's a chaotic family, got a baby crying. It just feels real. Like you're watching a real family, and it's very authentic and genuine, and I loved the family. And Ethan Hawke turned down the role to play Josh, and because he doesn't like horror movies, but then he, like a year later, did Sinister, so hypocrite. And I love the score for this movie. The violins, the piano, like out of tune, just blaring on the low end. It reminded me of Black Christmas because that has a similar score where it's just like blaring, like just hitting the low end keys out of tune. It's just a great score. It really fits the scenes. It ramps up the tension, and it's fantastic. Love this score. My favorite James Wan movie score would be Dead Silence. I love that piano riff. I learned how to play it. Speaking of pianos, this is dumb, but there's a piano song in this movie that plays, and when it played, I couldn't help but smile the entire time because I was like, holy shit, this is Nuvole Bianchi by Ludovico Einaudi, Italian pianist, and I had never heard that song in any movie before. I guess technically I have, I just didn't realize it because it's been so long since I've seen this. But when I heard that song, I was like, holy shit, that's the song I play on piano. I'd never heard it in any movie before. So when I heard it, I just had a big old grin on my face, and I loved it. And then it turns into that one song. Again, the music in the movie, great. That one weird-ass song that plays when that little boy's dancing. There's so many great scenes in this movie. And that would be my favorite scene right there. So, Clapper Award for best scene is when Rose Byrne's character Renee, she's like walking around the house and then she sees that little boy dancing to that creepy ass song. That's an amazing scene. And then she hears the child laughing in the distance and he just comes out of the closet. Great scene. And I also the I like the look of the Darth Maul looking guy, but I feel like they show him a little too much. Just a little too, like, too much, alright? Keep him in the shadows a little bit more. And I like Lin Shaye. Uh, she's basically a horror legend now. She was in Nightmare on Elm Street, 2001 Maniacs, Critters, list goes on and on. And so it's great to see her here, and she becomes the face of the franchise. You know, she's this franchise's, you know, Freddy Krueger or Jason. She's the face of it. She's in like all four of them, I believe. Like I said, I haven't seen 3 or 4, but I heard she's in both of them. So maybe I'm wrong, but who knows? Who cares? Anyways, yeah, the acting's great by everybody. Everyone's tremendous. I mean, Leigh Whannell and then that other guy, Angus, I believe. You know, they come in. They don't have many lines of dialogue, but Leigh Whannell is doing a better job acting in this movie than he did in Saw, when he's like smoking that cigarette and pretending like he's poisoned. But even every other scene besides that one, he's not that good. And like I said, great tension, creepy ass imagery, the baby monitor scene. There's so many great scenes in this movie where there's just great tension. The camera work by James Wan, all the slow pans, and you know the way he tilts the camera. Like I've noticed that's like his style in a lot of his movies where there's like a camera tilt as it zooms in. He does that a lot in his movies. And yeah, I love that there's a lot of shadows and it's shot like on a wide angle lens. There's always these wide angles where the subject's like over here, but there's all this space over there and there's like shadows. And there's moments where I'm like, I think I see something, but I don't think it was intended for anything to be there. It was just my imagination. Just they put so much shadows in the frame that you start to see things on your own that aren't even actually there. It's kind of like Sinister. I said that for Sinister with Ethan Hawke. That movie was shot on like wide angles and there's all these spaces and shadows to like the left and right of the character that you start to like hallucinate like things in the shadows. And this movie has great cinematography, so gotta give it kudos for that. So let's get into my hottest chick of the movie is definitely Renee, played by Rose Byrne. She's been doing a lot of comedies lately, but I like her in horror movies. I'm not a fan of her comedic acting. I mean, she's a good actress, but I haven't really loved any comedy that she's ever done. So yeah, stick to horror. um, but other than that, my only negative with the movie would be the third act. Like this movie's so great in the first like 40 minutes or so, but then when Leigh Whannell and his character and the other guy, the Ghostbusters, when they get into the movie and they're doing a seance, they got the gas mask on, they go into the further, it just starts to feel more generic, like a typical ghost movie. And it gets weird. It has a slight tonal shift with Lee's character and Angus. I believe that's his name. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's just like they're slightly comedic. They're not too comedic. It's not like slapstick or anything, but it's a slight tonal shift with those two characters when everything before that was grim and dark. So I don't care for that at all. And yeah, like I said, the third act is a little shaky. It's a little weird and just generic. I have some questions. Some things don't really make all that much sense. You just kind of have to go with it. But other than that, I think this is a good horror movie. Fantastic, actually. Better than good. Great. All right. Good would be like something else. All right. This is a great horror movie. So if you haven't seen Insidious, definitely check it out and buy it. Now let's go into the spoiler discussion. So, this movie opens up and we got the mom and the son. They're wearing very similar pajamas. Who the hell wears pajamas like that? And we established that Patrick Wilson's character has no childhood pics. And that will get explained later on. They have a giant map of the country on their wall in the hallway. Who the hell? I get he's a teacher, but that's just a weird thing to have in your house. That's boring. You just want to walk around your house and see a giant, bland, nasty, stupid looking like picture of the country on your wall. I mean, I'd rather have nothing on the wall than a picture of the country. And then the kid falls in the attic, and then they think this is why he's in a coma, but it's not a coma, the doctors say. He thinks he sees something, though, in a corner. But then he's in the coma, and it's 3 months later, and he's still in the coma. And now they're taking him out of the hospital and bringing him home to take care of him there. Now, how come nothing happened at the hospital? Like, during those 3 months, did anything weird happen there? Did any nurses walk by and, have any paranormal activity going on there? It's not until like 3 months later when he first gets home that all of a sudden just things coincidentally start happening left and right. Doors opening, baby monitor, blah, blah, blah. Like nothing ever happened at the hospital. Just saying. And then, yeah, we get the baby monitor scene. It's so creepy.
I want it. I want it. Now!
But here's the thing. So she's hearing this creepy voice whispering on the baby monitor, and then also a voice yells, get out or whatever. I want it. And then she just immediately runs upstairs to, like, do what? Like, you heard a guy voice scream in your baby's room, and you're going to run up there with no weapon at all, no knife. There's the kitchen. She just goes straight up with no weapon to protect herself. Like, what was she going to do when she opened up that room and saw somebody with her baby? It's not like she knows how to fight. So I just wanted to point that out. And then, there's this strange knocking, 3 at a time because of the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Sets of 3, always 3. And then, yeah, you see the guy in the baby's bedroom. And then we see the Billy puppet on the chalkboard. It's hard not to see it. It's so noticeable. And then there's like a number 8 below it, which is a coincidence because now there's 8 Saw movies and a knife one on the way. And then we got the whole cliche husband sleeping on the couch because he pissed off the wife situation. And then they move to a new house because the mom's like, I ain't having none of this shit. All right, too many weird things are going on. Let's move out. And it's like, boom, they're in a new house the next night. She's like, I'm not sleeping in here. One more night, we're moving. And then just hard cuts. They're in a new house. I have to believe that it's been a while since that night. Between that cut, it had to be a while. Because there's no way they just found another house in the market, signed papers, and bought a house and packed up everything from their house. Like, I think they were still fresh in the moving process. Maybe. Like, they might have had some boxes, so they didn't fully unpack, so maybe that's why it was easier to still move at that point. But I'm just saying, like, man, that would have taken a while, multiple nights to find that new house, to repack your shit, and even box up, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way they moved overnight, but it made it look like they did. Like, all right, here we are, new house, overnight. Bullshit. There's no way. So what? She slept in a hotel for the next few nights? It's not that easy to find a new house. I should know. I went through the house hunting process. Last year, it's a bitch. And I ended up having to build my own house because I wasn't having any luck finding a house on the market for sale. So, bullshit. It would have taken a while. But whatever. But then we hear my piano song, and that made me happy. And then there's that creepy song on the record player, so I guess these two random ass songs are on the same record, or is supernaturally playing a song that really isn't on that record. Yeah, the kid dancing and then just running around. That's an awesome scene. And then we see the Darth Maul demon looking guy behind Patrick Wilson's head. That's like the best scare in the movie. One of the best scares. It's the biggest like jump scare. And then Leigh Whannell and Lin Shaye, they get into the movie. And this Angus guy, he's got like the camera that like changes colors. It's an effective scare because it has like a couple of dark frames in between the colors. So it's like when it goes from one color to the next, you think something's going to pop up. And eventually something does, like these twin girls or somebody. And then Patrick Wilson, he's not having any of it. He's like, whatever, I don't believe this bullshit. Get out of my house. And then he mentions something like, here's like $600. Like, did they really charge him $600? I don't think they did. But whatever. But yeah, I have that written down. Like $600. Did they really charge them $600 to just see if their house was haunted? And it really was. And then we see the drawings on the wall of the little kid who was in Iron Man 3. He was in other things too, but yeah, I remember him from Iron Man 3. And in the future installments, I think he's in the second one. But he has all these drawings that has like pictures of him, like, I saw myself sleeping last night. Did he draw those drawings while in the further? Or did he draw those drawings before the coma? After, like, I don't know. I didn't see those drawings before. So how is he drawing things in that further and then it's popping up in this dimension? Just little questions I have. Maybe you can answer them if you're even watching, if anybody's watching at this point. And then Leigh needs to. There's a scene where they have the gas mask seance, and it's so weird. Just, I'm not a fan of this part of the movie at all. Just kind of gets generic. But Leigh Whannell, he's like writing everything. He's like, "You filthy slut, you stupid bitch," and it reminded me of Chucky in Child's Play when he goes off on Karen Barkley. But he's like writing in giant font, wasting so much paper when he could just write smaller, just a little bit smaller, and then he could save paper. But he's like writing, just being all dramatic. Help me, help me, help me. How about you just write help me once, and then count how many times you're hearing it, and then write X, 6. Like he said, help me 6 times. Just, I couldn't help but like laugh. I'm like, dude, you're wasting so much paper. Why are you writing help me 40 times? Just count it, write how many times it was said, save some paper, be nice to the environment. Whatever. But yeah, then Dalton, he is possessed by the demon. He's throwing people around. He's got all that demon power. And then the dad goes into the further to rescue his son. We see like this Amityville type scene where like the son or the daughter is like shooting the whole family with a shotgun, and they're like in a mannequin like state, but they're real people, but they have like makeup on them to make them look like mannequins, and they're like holding as still as possible, and they got these creepy ass smiles on their face. That's a great scene too. And it's just the aesthetic of it, the atmosphere, the fog, low on the ground. There's always fog in horror movies. But yeah, he rescues his son from the Darth Maul demon, and then we start to see him a lot more, too much, and kind of ruins it. And that one song's playing again, but he takes him. The son escapes, gets back into present day, but the dad is not so lucky because he wants to start screaming at the woman ghost who haunted him as a kid. And I like that scene where we see those pictures, and like in each picture the ghost is getting closer and closer. That would be terrifying if that was like in your life. Could you imagine? And that ghost is clearly played by a man, and that's the twist in part 2. Spoilers for the future installments. In part 2, that ghost is the twist is that it was a guy, and they actually had a guy playing him in this one, the woman ghost, but they didn't have any intention of making part 2 and having the twist be that guy, the woman, was a guy. So that was just a weird accident, But yeah, I'm seeing if I left anything out. Leave this vessel, leave him. Power of Christ compels you. Like I say, it just gets so generic. It's so dumb. Like, so you can just yell and just yell as loud as you can, leave his body, and then the demon's gonna be like, okay, I waited over 3 months so I could finally get in this body, but since you asked so nicely for me to leave, I'm just gonna leave Dalton's body. Get the fuck out of here. But yeah. Could you imagine being chained for months? So was Dalton chained for months without eating, pissing, or shitting? Like, this is a different dimension where you don't have to eat, piss, or shit, jack off, anything, like nothing. So he's just chained, sitting there as this little boy, and he doesn't find it odd that he's not hungry ever. I mean, I like when he gets into the real dimension, he's like eating spaghetti, he's hungry as fuck, because he's just been living off of a feeding tube. But could you imagine just being chained for over 3 months, waiting for someone to fucking save you? That would suck. And I think it's over at that point. But yeah, like, the Elise, she suspects him as the ghost. She thinks he's possessed, and she takes a picture of him. He just fucking strangles her, and they're in the next room with Dalton. He's eating spaghetti. It's a ranch. No, it's a 2-story house. It's not a ranch, But they're in the other room, like right around the corner. It's not that big of a place. Come on. And he's yelling, like full on yelling, like, you stupid bitch! You know I don't like pictures being taken of me. And they act like they can barely hear it. Like, oh, I think I hear something going. Like, no, they should hear it fully. Get the fuck out of here. But whatever. Yeah, then it ends on a cliffhanger. A twist. And the dad's possessed, and is he gonna kill the wife? What happens? And then we get to part 2, and I will go into that in my next review next Wednesday. So those are my thoughts on this movie, Insidious. I don't have a Mr. Hat or Twig award. There is no favorite kill or least favorite kill. There's only one kill, Elise. But she'll come back somehow. Prequel, I guess. Those are my thoughts on Insidious. What did you think about this movie? Put all your thoughts up in the comments below. Where does this stack in your ranking? I'm curious if this is the best. I don't know. I'm very much looking forward to seeing 3 and 4. I'm hoping they're good. I hope all 4 of them are great. But we'll see. The best shot in this movie, forgot to talk about that. The best shot is the demon in the corner of Dalton's room pointing at him. I love that shot. It's eerie as hell. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you've seen here, hit this like button, share it with all your friends, become a Patreon to request movie reviews, and become a subscriber today if you haven't done so already, just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.